Hey, this is Seth, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a professional looking portfolio website that will help you stand out to potential employers and clients and make you look very, very good. You know, most people applying for jobs do not have a site like this, and it's a really powerful tool in your job search and in your career. I'm actually going to even provide you with not only step-by-step instructions on how to make a website just like this, but the actual template that I created to help make this much easier. So this is an example of a site that I created. This is an example of a couple of my students' websites that they created. You can see how it just, if you're an employer, you're looking at a candidate and you see a site like this, it really does make a difference in how they perceive you. So I'm going to show you. This is going to be a fairly long video because I'm going to give you very detailed step-by-step instructions. Now, the first thing that you need when you're creating a website, if you've never done it before, is a domain name and a host. A domain name is like just the name of the website, google.com, sethhimes.com, georgebrandon.com. And then you need a place to put the website, which is the hosting company. And the good news is, back in the 1990s, if you wanted to host a website, you needed an actual computer in your house. But nowadays, you basically rent space on a big server for a very low cost. And there's a lot of companies that do this. The one that I recommend to start with is called Hostgator. I've been using these guys for 10 years. They're a really good place to get your start, and they're very affordable. So you click the link below on the video and go over to, you'll be taken to this shared hosting page. And there are three plans here. You don't need the business plan, that's too much. The hatchling plan is for just one website. So if this is the only website you're gonna build, you can start with that. If you ever wanna build more websites, you can just upgrade to this baby plan. They're both very inexpensive, but you can just start with the hatchling plan. Click buy now. Now I'm gonna show you how to get a nice discount on your domain name and your hosting plan. Now, the one thing I also like about Hostgator is that they're one of the few companies that lets you pay month to month, which I just like that. It's just my personality. I'd rather pay a little more month to month than upfront. But if you do pay for a year in advance, you can see it goes down to like $4 a month, and you get a year domain registration for free. But if you're new to this and you just want to start out with the 1 month, you can click hatchling 1 month, search for your domain name. Now this is important because you need to make sure that your domain is available. Like if your name is John Smith, it's probably not available. That's a very common name. And it will tell you that, it'll say unavailable. But let's say you put in, James Harrington the 14th.com. I don't know. I just made that up. So I click on the .com, and if you have a common name, you might want to put your middle name in there, like I have. You'll see I'm using Seth Jarrett Himes. So now you can see it normally does cost between $8, $13, even $17 a year for a domain name. But I'm going to show you how to get that at a reduced price. And I'm going to show you how to go through the things you should and shouldn't check when you're purchasing to make it the best and most affordable. So domain privacy basically means that nobody will be able to see your contact info. Just to let you know, if you don't check this, then people can search and find your contact info, like whatever phone you put in or your address, and you may get sales calls. But it's up to you. What I used to do actually on GoDaddy, I have an address and a phone number on there that's like 10 years old, so nobody bothers me, and I don't always use domain privacy. I use domain privacy on my main website because it's more popular, but it's completely up to you. So let's say you put hatchling 1 month, put in your email address, put in a PIN, put in your payment information. And then under additional services, you can just uncheck these. You don't need any of this. You're going to get a secure website, and I can show you ways to do all these things much more cheaply than paying for it here. And so now you're going to see the total is about $24. But if you enter this coupon code, the Seth Jarrett, you will see big discount. The domain is only $5, and you get a discount on the first month hosting. So it's under $14. Now, just disclosure, I am an affiliate of Hostgator. If you use this coupon code, I will get a small commission. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's completely your choice. If you don't want to use this, if you want code, you can use another code or no code. It's up to you. So then you're going to go ahead, click that you understand terms of agreements, and click checkout now. Then you will be taken to a thank you page, and in a little while you'll receive an email like this. Thank you for your order, and you're going to get a lot of information, including your username, your password, and the link to your control panel. And you don't need to worry about the name servers because you registered your domain with Hostgator. So this is a very simple process, even though it may look a little bit overwhelming at first. What you want to do is click on the link to your control panel and then log in with your username and password. And then you're going to be taken to a page that looks like this with a lot of different options. And don't worry, you don't have to know about all these things. You just want to be aware of this WordPress manager, because the next step is going to be installing WordPress. Now, WordPress is the content management system that it makes building a site like this possible with just a few clicks of a button. When you first go to your website after you register with Hostgator, it's going to look something like this, and you're going to go like, oh my God, what is that? It's technical stuff. Don't worry about that. This is going to go away in just a minute. So in order to set up WordPress, all you do is click on WordPress Manager, and you're going to click install. And you know, I've had this hosting account for 10 years. I've had so many different domains on here. In your case, when you click install, there's just going to be one domain to pick from. In my case, there's a lot. So just pick your domain, and then I would put the site name, which should be your name, and a little description. Then create username and password. You can use the key to create a nice complicated password. I would make this email an email that you have access to. Click these two plugins. It's not a big deal, but it just, the first one helps you protect you a little bit from potential, hackers and things. And this classic editor we'll talk about later. And then you just want to click install. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to create my username and password now. And then when you click install, just wait. It'll take about, it says 3 to 4 minutes, and just wait that amount of time. And then you will see, congratulations, the software was installed successfully. And now if you go to your website and click refresh, you will see, ta-da, it looks much prettier. All this is, it's not quite here, but we're on our way. So this is what a basic WordPress install looks like. This is the free theme that comes with WordPress, and we're going to start, customizing that soon. Now, in order to log in, you want to click on the little administrative URL, and it may just log you in, but you should know how to log in manually. And what you're going to want to do is, I'm going to log out. And if you go to yourdomain.com/wp-admin, you should be taken to a page that looks like this. You will get very familiar with this page. And this is where you want to put in your username and password. And again, if you ever log out, this is how you log back in. So this is the typical fresh install of a WordPress website. But I say fresh, this is what happens with hosting companies. They partner with all these other companies and try to sell you some of these other services. Personally, I think before we start setting up the site, we should clean everything up so we have better performance. So I would go over to installed plugins, and let's just get rid of some of these things that you're not going to need right now. So let's go to and checkbox, click Creative Mail, Jetpack, Mojo Marketplace, Opt-in Monster. You are going to want WP Forms Lite. We'll talk about that later. And then just click on this menu and click Deactivate. And it's just, you can delete them if you want, but deactivating them is fine. And now click on by the way, this is your navigation panel on the left. You can always click Dashboard Home to come back to Get Oriented. And now you can see a lot of that stuff is gone that was there before. So now we are going to just do a little bit more housekeeping before we actually start installing all the software that's going to help us build the site. So let's go over to settings, and I want you to click on this thing called permalinks. And this is something I suggest you do anytime you have a new WordPress site. You want to change this to post name, and that just makes it so that whenever you create a new page, it'll be like your, SethHimes.com/sample post or home page or about me. If you use any of these other things, it's going to be like numbers and symbols and dates, and nobody wants that. So just change this to post name and click Save Changes. So now this is the fun part. This is where we're going to start installing the themes and the plugins that make it possible to build a site like this. So the first thing you want to do is go over to Appearance and Themes, and I want you to click Add New, and there's a whole bunch of free themes with WordPress that are of varying quality, but the one we're going to pick is called Astra, which is a pretty good theme that is a really good foundation to build the one I've shown you. So click Install, and then it's just going to take a moment, and then click Activate. So that's the first step, is get Astra set up. Now one of the things you're going to notice if we refresh our website is that the appearance has changed. Now it looks like this, and it still doesn't look anything like what it's going to look like. But we're on the right path. Now one of the things you want to do with the Astra theme is you want to get rid of this top menu. As you can see, there's no top menu here, and if you do have a menu like Kimberly does, you want it to look nice and stylized. You don't want it to look like this. So what we need to do is go over to Customize under Appearance, and we are just going to click on the menu, and if you can upload a logo like George did, but for now I suggest just deleting it. You can always add it back in and then delete this primary menu, and now it's gone. But here's another trick. This is what we call responsive, and we're going to show you this when you're building your site, which is really cool. It'll show you what your website's going to look like on a desktop, tablet, and mobile. And one of the things you're going to notice is that, I got rid of it on desktop, but it's still there on the tablet. So we have to do it again. Just delete. And then for mobile's good now. So now we click Publish, and we're not going to have this at the top. So now once you've done that, now we can go, hold on, there we go, now it's published. Click the little X and it'll take you back to the main menu. Now we're going to install these awesome plugins that make all of this possible. So you want to go to Plugins and Add New. And the first plugin we're going to install is called Elementor. And as you can see, Elementor has 5 million active installations, lots of good reviews. It's an amazing plugin, I think. So you want to click Install Now, and then click Activate. And it's going to take you over to this screen. You don't need to you can go through these videos if you want, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So I just clicked the little X to get you out of here. And then we're going to go back because there's still a couple more plugins to install. Go back to Plugins, click Add New. And then click, also you want to type Elementor again. There's one more Elementor plugin. Essential Add-ons, which just gives you some more features to choose from. So click Install Now. And click Activate. And then it's gonna, I would just click Next. Don't install this. This is another bunch of free templates that you could explore if you want, but I don't recommend it right now. Just click Next. Don't install any of these things. Next, and then Finish. And then finally, happy face. Finally, we're going to install one last plugin, which is really cool, which is called Starter Templates. And as you can see, it's going to say Starter Templates for Elementor, which also has 1 million active installations and very good ratings. So click Install Now, and then click activate. And now we are ready to begin. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create the web page that is going to turn into this. So just go over to Pages and click Add New. Now here's another tip. This is just something I do when I'm using WordPress. I like to use the Control button when I click, because what that'll do is it'll open up a new tab. And this is good in case you ever have to go back. Instead of having to click the back button, you can just go to the tab. And this is just a habit I developed over time to make it easier when I'm doing things. So what you want to do is, first thing you want to do is publish this page. So give it a name like home page, or you can name it your name, whatever you want to call it. And then just click publish. And then that page is going to exist. And it says, it's nice and neat. It says home page. It doesn't say like P equals 4, 5, 6, 9, 7. Now we're going to begin the fun by clicking Edit with Elementor. And this is going to take you into a completely different interface. So this is the Elementor interface, and it looks very similar to some, more expensive WordPress builders. So I was very impressed with this. Now on the basic level, you have these things like a heading, text, image, video, and you literally just drag and drop, and now you can add text. You can click the X button to delete. You can add in, an image. There's a lot you can do with a blank template, but of course nobody wants to start with a blank template. That's why I'm providing you with a template that is similar to those sites we've looked at. Also, just so you're aware of this, these are the pro options. So if you do upgrade, Elementor does have a paid version. There are more options in terms of styling and features, but you can still do a lot of this stuff without the pro version, that you can put in your own HTML, menus, image carousel, and these are the essential add-ons that we added with that other plugin, content ticker, a countdown, pricing table, all sorts of things you can throw in there. So you're welcome to explore that as you want. But for now, let's just bring in the template that I've been talking about. Now the way you're going to do that is by clicking this little folder button. And then you're going to click this little up arrow, which is going to allow you to import a template to your library. And you're going to click the link below this video to the drive link with the JSON file that I've created. So I'm not exactly sure of the full name, but it should be something like DMCB Portfolio Pro Site Template. And you just double click it and it's going to upload to your website. So that takes just a moment, and then you're going to see it here in your library, and you just need to go over here and click Insert. And that just takes another moment. And voila. Now you have this template in your website. And you can click, by the way, this is the update button. I suggest getting very familiar with that, because if you've been making changes to your website for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you want to just update just as like saving your work so that you don't lose your work. And now if I refresh this page, look at that. It's a completely different website, which in and of itself I think is pretty darn cool. So now let's talk a little bit. First, I'm going to go over the template itself in terms of why I designed it the way I did and just sort of the big picture, and then we'll dig into the actual little widgets and how you adjust things and customize things. Okay, so let's talk about the layout of one of these portfolio websites. Now, you're going to notice a few extra blocks in here, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But in general, what you want to have in one of these websites is like a hero section, like an introductory section, which can look like this with a big image if you have one of those, or it could look like this with a big image that's kind of one on either side of the screen, and it should have your name and say what you do, and then a little introduction. It's like George has a really nice one here. Your digital marketer. I help people optimize their performance. It talks about what she does. And that's really cool. And then underneath, there's a little about section that says a little bit more about, the person and what they do. And, I suggest, this is why I put this into the template, you want to have, your about section, and you want to talk a little bit about yourself, but mostly talk about your skills and what you can offer the person. This is not a place for you to talk about your ultimate Frisbee passion in great detail. You want to, the person is visiting this page because they want to learn about your skills and your professional aptitude. And then there is a section for your skills. And you can see they have it here. Now, you can even put in a section where you talk a little bit about your personality. I didn't think that was really that necessary. Another student of mine, this is Nick Schulander. He built his website using Divi, which is a really good theme. It's a paid theme. It looks very similar. One of the things you're going to notice is, he also he's got the hero section here and testimonials and then his skill sets. So you don't really need to put too much about your personality per se, but there is, you can if you want, and then you do want to talk about your skills. So I have these sections here to put in your skill sets, and then a section for testimonials or certifications or anything else you want to share with your client, and then at the bottom, a message, a place for people to get in contact with you. And that's kind of the general, outline of one of these websites. And again, if you're just starting out, you don't have to have a ton of stuff. Just literally having a site where you have a nice professional looking picture of yourself, a web page, some of your skills, and a way for people to get in touch is more than enough. And this is going to sound really basic, guys, but I've had people on LinkedIn who don't understand that all you need is a professional picture is literally just a picture of you wearing a nice shirt smiling. Kimberly here, her picture is her smiling, wearing a nice shirt. That's it. Some people on LinkedIn, you're going to see they have pictures of them. They're scowling, they're frowning, there's no light on their face. That's just it's the easiest way to look professional, is just to have a nice, decent looking picture. So that's kind of an overview of the methodology behind this. Now let me explain to you this actual template. So one of the things I did is that I added these extra blocks. And why did I do that? I wanted to give you options. First of all, I know this is a very popular thing to have the really big hero section. You may not like that. It's up to you. The other thing is you might not have a picture that fits like this. Now, I do suggest that in this digital age, it's so easy to get photos. You can literally have a friend take pictures of you with your cell phone and you will get a good looking picture. You can hire a photographer for very inexpensive. Back in the day, you had to get someone with a film camera and develop the film, and it was a real ordeal. I would get some professional pictures of yourself so that you can, it can fit into this header, section here. Another thing you want to be aware of when you're, with this interface, and I'm going to talk about the interface in a few minutes. Look, you always want to be checking this responsive mode, because this will show you the website as how it looks on desktop, tablet, and mobile. And mobile is so important these days. And you can see this theme looks really good. But what's interesting about the header theme is that, and this is very common, is that it looks really good on desktop, but on mobile the picture's gone. And it still looks really good, but there's no picture of you. So that's something you may want to, this is your own personal choice. But if you had this one, if you're using this as your header and you had a photo, people would see your photo there. Now, they're going to see your photo here anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. But again, this is all about personal preference. The other thing is, I'm going to take this off. If you don't have a photo that fits these dimensions, let's say you just have a square photo or a vertical photo, this header might work better for you. But the cool thing about this is that if you want to get rid of this, you just click the little X and voila. And let's say you make a mistake whenever you're editing in here, you're going to click Control Z and it comes right back. So I wanted to give you multiple options when you're building your site with this template. The other thing is I like this particular block here. By the way, these are all called blocks, and I'm going to talk to you more about how to customize those later. But I thought this was cool because you could put brands I've worked with, companies, certifications I have, certifications I have. Or you can just take the text out and just put like, you know, whatever your certifications are right here. If you don't have any, or if you don't like this, just like click, where is it? Click the thing. You can, so let's say you want to get rid of this section, you can right click and you click delete and that'll go away. And you can click control, always click Control Z and it'll come right back. Now let's say you like the spacing, here, so you can just delete the text and leave that. If you don't have anything to put in this section, you just click the little X and boom, that goes away. Now I want to talk to you a little bit more about the interface and these building blocks and the styling and all those things. Now this is, Elementor is a really great what you see is what you get editor, meaning you don't have to code anything. You just click on, say, the text and you can just type and it changes all these things for you. You can click enter to change the spacing. So when it comes to text and to most elements in here, you're going to be looking at, you know, either the content or the style tab. So in this case, you know, content is the actual text. You can change the alignment, right, left, middle, and styling is where you would change like the typography. So you could change the size of the text. You can change the color of the text, and of course, as always, you can click Control Z to undo anything. And again, you always want to be clicking update as you make changes. And you may want to use responsive mode just to see how things look on mobile, making sure that everything looks as good on mobile as it does on desktop. So, and as far as these blocks go, this is what's really cool, is you can literally, you know, delete a section by clicking the X. If you want to edit the section, and this is going to be very important when it comes to customizing photos, you want to click on this middle thing. And this is where you're going to be able to change the layout and style of each one of these little blocks, we call them. And again, if you, let's say you decide, hey, I just want this hero image here. I'm going to delete these two guys. Now, you know, this is, you know, looks closer to what the site will look like ultimately. You can always hit Control Z to undo that. Now let's say I want to change this image in the back here. I'm going to click on Style, and you can see there's the image right there. And this is where I can go into my media library. If there are like pre-made, you know, if any of these, if I wanted to use some of these stock photos, but you're probably going to want to upload your own, well, you're definitely going to want to upload your own picture. So I just uploaded this picture of myself. I honestly don't know how this is going to look, but I'm going to click insert and there's me. So this is a nice like horizontal image, and you can, you know, you can change the size by clicking custom, and it doesn't always look so great. So I usually just leave it on cover. You know, but again, if you know, on the mobile, you rarely see yourself, but it's still a nice background. But you know, that's how you do it. You just go over to this button here, click style, and that's where you change this. You can also, there's a lot, you know, when you mess around with this, you're going to see a lot of these options, you know, even more than I have time to go over, but you can change the overlay. You can see there's a nice overlay on this. And if I put it at 0, this is the actual image itself without any overlay. But by putting a little bit of an overlay, it kind of shades the image out so that the text is more prominent. You know, you can change the color. You can make it red or orange, or, I mean, that looks terrible, but you know, you can do it as you'd like. Like you can see here, George made his kind of purplish, and Kimberly did this color. And it adds just a nice little bit of styling to the image. Now let's say I wanted to use, you know, I wanted to use this as my header block. Just click on this section, click on the little column icon, same thing, go over to style, and I would change the image. So let's, since this is already uploaded, let's try this. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. It kind of cuts me off a little bit there. So again, you know, this is why I included these blocks, because you know, each image may have different cropping and different sizing and things like that. Or, you know, you can always try to upload a different image. Let's try that. So like I just uploaded this image, and this is more of like a straight on shot. By the way, this just came with the block. I'd probably get rid of that. Just click the little X, and you know, you can have it look like that. Although I think that's probably better. You know, for some reason these bigger shots with backgrounds can look better as the header shots, whereas for the about, it's really up to you. You know, you probably just want to make them look a little bit different. If you don't like this, like personally looking at these two, I'm like, I don't really like this, so I probably want to I'd get rid of that section. But it's up to you. That's what's so cool about being able to customize these things. Let's see. There we go. I just undid it. Now, as long as we're talking about this header section, I do want to show you something very cool. Now, you know, this is a one-page website, so we're not going to talk about menus, but there is this big call to action button in the middle, whether you use this header, or this header. And I want to show you how to make this so that when you click on it, it will actually move the visitor to another part of the page. So let's say get in touch, and you wanted it to scroll down to the contact us section. Again, yours isn't going to look like this just yet. I'm going to get into that later in the video. But obviously, if somebody clicks get in touch, you'd like to send them to the contact us section. Well, how do you do that? Here's how you do it. You go over to, remember, if you ever are in a situation where you've lost that elements, the widgets list, just click on this little thing at the top left, and then this thing, or again, a little arrow, and you'll see all your widgets. And then you want to type in the word anchor, and you're going to see the word menu anchor. And you just want to drag and drop that into the section that you want people to go to. And you're going to give it an ID, which can be very simple. It can be like characters, it says A through Z or 0 through 9. So I'm just going to put 3. And then I'm going to go up here to this big button. Oops, see, it already did it because I already set this up. What you're going to do is you're going to click on the little pencil, and you can see for the link I put 3. Now if I change that to 4 and I click it, nothing happens. But now that it's hashtag 3, remember, it could also be, you know, if you want another URL, another website, but in this case we're doing it to be number 3, and when I click it, it's gonna shoot people down here. And then you just click update, and now you have this cool functionality. And you can do that with this one, or with this one, or you could create one that says, like, you know, ask me anything. You can change this to number 3, and then when people click it, boom, it takes them here. You can drop an anchor on your portfolio or your testimonial section, and, you know, have it say, check out my work, and have it be clickable that way. So that is something very cool. I just wanted to share with you when you're customizing this template. I don't really like to delete anything until the very end, until I'm sure I know exactly how I want it to look. But again, this is where, actually not a square, this is a vertical. I think I need to change, yeah, I need to change that. It should be like a vertical shaped photo. Works best in this section. Sorry guys, I should have changed that. So like for this welcome one, I would click on the little thing, click style, you know, sorry, in this section, it's not the column, the image is actually right here. So you'd click on that, and you can change the image by clicking there. So this is a pretty decent, like, horizontal image. Let's see, this one, I think maybe the close-up of my face would work. Yeah, so this works better in this section. So again, it's all up to you guys based on the sizing of the photos and the styling that you prefer. But, you know, the top section should just be like, my name is whatever, this is what I do. And then this about section is where you would talk a little bit more about yourself. And yeah, I hope that's pretty straightforward. You know, if you want, you can always move these things around too. You just drag and drop, and you can put one on top of the other. I mean, obviously you're going to want to delete 2 out of the 3 of these, but there's a lot of different things you can do. Now let's move down to the skills section. So a section like this is really cool because, again, you can customize the text, and you can change the background image. So like in this case, I would again click on this little box, these little dots here, click Style, put in the image I want to put. Maybe I'd use this image, or maybe not because it doesn't really fit. Yeah, so again, this is why you're going to want to mess around with this a little bit. I actually found this image of mine. So what I found is that this is a really horizontal image. It's like 2000 by 1000 pixels. And so I remember this one worked, and what I did was, instead of center right, and you can change the positioning. So I changed it to like center, let's see. Left, bottom right. Let me figure this out. So I had to mess around with that a little bit, but I ended up with just putting it at center right and then default for all of these things. And you can see it kind of, you know, allows my head to peek out, which is kind of nice. I think I would probably, if I was doing this, when I change this up, I'm probably going to have a picture of myself not in a bathing suit, but you get the idea. And then for these little sections here, what you can do is you can click on the little icons, and then you just click on Icon Library, and you have all these pre-made icons. You can go to a stock image site like Graphic River and download your own icons if you want. Let's see, graphicriver.net. And you can go to icons, and there's just like a bazillion of these things. If you want to get really, you know, some of you guys are going to want to get really detailed. Some of you guys will just be happy with these that are already there, and you customize this to your own particular skill set. And again, this one is just more white versus dark. You can customize the background here, or, you know, if you don't like having a picture there. Let's see, where is that? I'm sorry, this is, so yeah, you got to hunt around sometimes, but I believe that this column here is where this picture is connected. So yeah, you can just click the little trash can if you want to get rid of the image, and now it looks like this. And that, you know, looks very nice, very professional, very neat. When you come down to this section, this is a little more, you know, artistic than some of the other sections. You can click on these to change the images. You could delete this if you don't like this style. So this is how you customize this gallery. And by the way, guys, you can always, if you wanted to add more images, you could duplicate. And now look at this. You're going to have 2. You can have 6, 9, 12, as many as you want. And of course, you can right click and always just click delete to get rid of them. But what we do is just click on the gallery, and then go over here and click on the little pencil icon next to the images. And basically, these 3 images are already in there. These are placeholders. And what we just do is add your own images. So I go to Add to Gallery, for example, and I find this little screenshot image here. Click Add to Gallery, and now it's in here. And now I want to just drag it over here to the first image. And let's say I want to have a little caption underneath. I can put it there, client number 1 results. Click Insert, and voila. There it is. The caption does not say what I want it to say. That's because caption shouldn't be title, it should be caption, the little thing I wrote underneath there. Now in this case, because you can have, you know, 10 images, as many as you want, and it's going to do the little slideshow thing here. And by the way, if as you create, you always want to kind of be referring back to your responsive tab so you can see what everything is going to look like on mobile. Make sure it looks good. In this case, you know, you have to scroll left and right to see the images, which is okay. This, you know, you might want to have, instead of, like, let's say you don't want people to have to scroll, you might say, hey, you know what, I have 6 images, I'm just going to put 3 and 3. And in this case, let's say I don't want people to have to scroll at all. I could just go to Edit and then just delete this last one here. Click Insert, and now there's only the 3 images. And speaking of mobile friendly, I just noticed this. So let's go over to mobile, and we can see something I didn't notice, which is that, see this case studies, or, you know, in this case, we can see that this little section doesn't look so good. So this would mean that I would want to delete this, or yeah, I just tested this. So one of the things you can do if you see that something is like bleeding over like this, I'll show you what I just did. This is where you can go to the advanced tab and mess with the margins. Now you want to, for some reason this is all linked. You don't want to do that, because let's say I start adding a margin, it's going to add all these margins. Unlink that. All I really want to do is add a little bit of margin to this so that it pushes this down. And I can click on this in advanced, and I might want to actually make a little bit of a less of a margin so that it comes up a little bit. So now this, see how this looks a lot cleaner than it did before. Then I would just come back to my desktop and just make sure that this still looks good on desktop. And I'm not sure, it looks like Elementor actually separates them, which is really great. So now, you know, now it looks good on mobile and on desktop. Now let's say you want to know how to further customize these blocks with more and more elements. Let's say you wanted to take this image and you know, obviously if you want to change the image, you would just click on the little pencil and then change the image here. But let's say you wanted to make this into a video. This is a very important point here. If you want to get back to that elements menu, it's really easy. Just click on the little 3 bars here and then click again on the arrow, and voila, there is your element menu. Limited, you can't use the pro stuff, but there's still a lot of cool options here. So what you do is you just drag and drop this video widget here, right here, and then I would right click on the image and delete it, and then you just have to, you know, whatever YouTube video, you know, this is what I was talking about. If you have a client video or something like that, you would just insert the URL of that video right here. Just like with Nick's, you know, Nick has these testimonials here, and you could have the same type of thing here. And you know, the cool thing about this as well is that you can adjust the columns just by clicking on that little left and right. You can just drag it left or right. It'll make each side smaller or bigger. Remember, if you want to get back to that, you know, let's say you wanted to add a heading, you would have to find the part here that is active, and that's where you'd add your heading. If you wanted to add an entirely new block, you'd add section and press the plus, and then you can add these columns, and you know, you could have like 4 or 5 different columns and add different elements into each thing, or just make it 1 or make it 2 like this. There's, you know, I think this is very intuitive, and I think it'll be pretty easy for you guys to figure out as you begin to play with it. But here are just a few more pointers and ways to tweak everything. So let's say you've clicked in on this block here. One thing you might have noticed, I noticed this, is that the top of this, there's a lot of white space, and then I clicked in on the advanced tab, which is where you have your margins, and I was like, wow, that's pretty big, 160. So if I just press 0, see how now that's all gone. So I put it back at like a 10 or a 20. That's also why we were having trouble a minute ago inserting that heading up there, that header. So now let's say I wanted to put a heading up here. Now there's room, and I can put it in there, and I can, you know, client case studies or whatever I would want this to be. And just a quick reminder, guys, you know, I wanted to give you a ton of options, but remember, you are not obligated to use all of these. If you know, want to keep it simpler, you can always just delete these sections. And after the next little segment of this video, I'm going to show you how to customize this even more. But for now, I want to talk to you about this section and how you can customize this. So this section here is just a little bit different. You do want to click on the little dots there, but you're going to see there's nothing under the background and the style tab. But if you click on background overlay, you want to click on these dots at the top and then click on background overlay, and that's where the image is that you can change for this section. And again, I know most of you guys are just starting out. You may not have the testimonials, but I want you to have, you know, that available. Really, the most important thing is, you know, how I can help you. You know, maybe adding in your certifications or a little bit more information here, and then, you know, again, when you have the testimonials, I do encourage you to put those on the website. And this bottom section here, this is really important. This is get in touch. And it also, this section also has a little icons for where you can put your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I mean, I don't know why Pinterest is there necessarily, but you can, you know, there's a lot of different icons. They have Spotify, Twitch, Tumblr. I don't know if they have LinkedIn in here. Yeah, they do have LinkedIn. So LinkedIn would be more appropriate for us. So you just, you know, you just add that in, maybe get rid of Pinterest by clicking the little X. You can customize this the way you want. Obviously, you click on here and just change all this information to be your address, phone number, email, and then this is a cool little widget. Oops. This Google Maps widget, you can put your location or your city location or your office location, and it will just like customize it to, like, I don't know, St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know why I thought of St. Louis. I think, there you go, see? But then the real important part here is obviously the form. The form. This is how you're going to actually receive the emails from people when they, you know, when they want to get in touch with you. So you can customize all this text, but this is the most important thing here. Someone's at my door. I'll be right back. So this is where we want to use the WP Forms plugin. And this is why, you know, I like to leave a little tab open, but if you don't have a tab open, you would just click on the little top left thing and click Exit to Dashboard. And you should have WP Forms Lite already set up. So you'd want to go over to Settings in your WP Forms Lite. And basically go over to, I'm going to get rid of that. Go over to, now you don't, obviously you don't need the license. It says here no license needed. Let's go to Add New Form. And you can just make it a simple contact form and just call it, you know, my form 1. Simple contact form. It's going to pretty much populate everything for you. And you can see it's like first name, last name, email, comment, or message. You can customize this. You can, hey, say, you know, how can I help you? Something like that. Tell me more about your project, whatever you want it to be. And then you just click save, and then I would click Embed Form. And what you do is go to use a short code. And then this is the code, and you're going to come back to this page, click on this section with the little arrow, and then just copy and paste and click apply. And now you could kind of see what it was about to do. It's just going to take a moment. Now, all the code. Now look at that. Now you have an actual form, and you want to make sure that this is set up to go to your email. So the one thing that the last aspect of this you need to do, what you're going to do, what it's going to do here is it's actually automatically going to send it to, let me find the home page here, my dashboard. It's going to automatically send emails to whatever the administrative email is for WordPress. So that's going to be under, I think you go to settings and general, and this is whatever that email address is. So you can just make sure that this is the right email address for you, or you can put a comma and then put your name at, you know, whatever emails you want, just put a comma and just put it there, and then just make sure that it is saved. So just click save. And now anytime somebody fills this out, it's going to come to your email like magic. And that is, you know, that is pretty much the basics of how to get a site that looks really good like this set up. So before we wrap things up, I just want to show you a couple more ways to customize this even more, and a few more details, and then some things about WordPress that make sure your site is functioning properly. So let's say you like all these blocks, but you wanted to kind of explore and make your own. This is how you do it, and I think it's pretty cool. Go up here to the plus. You can do it on any widget. You can press the plus sign here or anywhere you want, and then just click this thing which is the starter templates. And like I showed you in the beginning of this video, you can actually import complete web pages that are free, or you can do the premium if you want. But what I would recommend is these blocks. Now you can just see there are just a ton of these they're like building blocks. So you can put in, like, let's say you wanted to have a little skills section in your page with a picture of you and links to your social, and then like your skills listed here like this. You just go there, click import block, and voila, it shows up here. And then you can basically customize this, change the text, change the percentage, change the image, whatever it is that you want to do. And there are, let's see, if we go back to blocks, I mean, there's just so many of these. This is actually how I created a lot of this template. You can create a header like that. You can create something with a nice horizontal image, contact us page, columns page. This is where I got the features page, the services. So you can grab, if you wanted to try some different versions of that, like here, you can try that. There's a lot of options for you to explore. Now, I'm not suggesting you get completely caught up in that, but those are available for you if you want to use them. And then, of course, you should have been saving your work throughout this entire process. And you click update, and then you can, and you could be doing this throughout your time, building the page. But at some point, you want to click view page. Actually, I'm going to click update to make sure that I've saved everything, and then click view page. And now it's going to show me the actual web page, which is kind of a mess because I just was using it to show you guys how to do all these things. And obviously, you'll be deleting a lot of these blocks and adding your own and customizing them, but it's still really cool. But now, this is a basic WordPress thing, but it's very important. And remember, guys, this is a big step ahead from where we were, right? Let's say I go back to my website. Guess what? It still looks like that. Well, that stinks. I want people to see this. What you need to do, there's a couple things I want you to do before we complete this. Number one, you need to go to the settings menu and click reading. And then for your home page, you're going to pick the home page or whatever title you've given to your page as the home page, and then click Save Changes. And then if I refresh this, voila. Now, one more technical thing. I'm going to load this page in a different browser so you can see this. And you're going to see that, oh, it's working nicely. It's working nicely. But I just want to show you a little technical thing about security. Site security is really important these days. So I just signed out of the blog, and I'm going to try to type in the name of my blog without any HTTP, any of that, because that's how most people are going to find your blog, right? And unfortunately, if you notice, the site does load, but it says not secure, which is kind of weird because when we loaded it up in Firefox, it did say secure because I had the HTTPS. What you want to do is you want to make sure that anytime somebody visits your site, it's secure. So you're going to add one more plugin. So I've logged back in, and I'm going to go back to plugins, and I'm going to go to add new. And I'm just going to type in simple SSL. And there's a plugin called Really Simple SSL. You can see it has 5 million active installations. Just click install. click activate, and the plugin will do it. Just click go ahead, activate SSL. And when you do activate it, you're going to see a bunch of notifications. You can just click on the X's to delete those. And then when you go, remember when you signed up for Hostgator, you got a free SSL certificate, security certificate we call it. So you don't have to do anything with that. And it's working. It's just you want to make sure that when people type in your website without the HTTPS, it automatically gives them the secure site. So now that this plugin is active, and you may have to wait a minute for it to work, now it's automatically going to the secure version. So that is it, guys. That is how to create your own professional portfolio website using mostly free plugins and free software. So I hope you found this tutorial to be valuable. I hope that you found it easy to follow and you're able to create your own awesome website. You are welcome to leave comments below the video if you have any questions. I do just ask that you go through the whole video, try this before you ask any questions. Anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.